Full time at the Emirates Stadium, Arsenal 1, Wolves 1. Once again, Unai Emery has let a lead slip. Once again, he has failed to win a winnable game. Once again, he has lost ground in the race for the Champions League places. And once again, there are question marks over his future. Well, are there? Maybe not. Perhaps instead of question marks, we are approaching an exclamation point, and that will be the sacking of Unai Emery, and that cannot be too far away. As a fan, I desperately wanted there to be signs of progress at this stage. I believed there could be. There are not. There are not. In fact, we are getting worse. And we are now 11 games into the Premier League season. This is almost a third of the domestic campaign. You know, we have given this a significant go this season, and it is not working. And if results go against us, by the end of next week, we could be 9 points off Leicester in the race for that top four. That is difficult to overhaul for anybody. So that is a real problem, and I feel for Unai because he's just in a situation now where nothing is working for him. He's trying various different things. We saw another system today. He went back to the diamond with a 2 up front. It just feels like a guy rolling the dice and desperately hoping he turns up a 6-6, and it doesn't feel like that is going to happen. And at some point you have to draw a line. I think realistically, I think the club, if they're going to make the change, and surely they are, I think they'll do it after the Leicester game. I say that because A, I have got no confidence of us getting a result there, and B, it comes just before the international break, and they may feel that that is an opportune time to make the changes that they want to make. Almost certainly installing some sort of caretaker manager in the immediate term. I know people will say, look, we're going to lose at Leicester. Why not make the change now? At least give ourselves a fighting chance. I hear you. I just, having observed football clubs down the years, international breaks, sackings happen. That's just what happens. There is a very strong case to mount that you should make that change right now. And by the way, I take no satisfaction in saying that. I have had more patience for Unai Emery than most supporters. I don't think he's quite as incompetent as he's made out to be, but what is clear is that this team is not functioning right now. Whatever the setup is, it doesn't seem to work. Even today, he brought back in Mesut Ozil to the starting lineup. Probably the right thing to do in some respects, but also a sign of a desperate man. A sign of someone who was basically prepared to fold on his principled stance about, Ozil being excluded, in order to desperately try and get results. And it nearly worked for him. I mean, there were times in the first half where Ozil did make stuff tick and make things happen. But even in that sort of 15, 20-minute spell of dominance in which we scored, it felt more like we were sort of succeeding. Oh, there's been a goal, Tammy Abraham. Succeeding in spite of our system than because of it. And that's a problem. It does feel like our individuals rise to the fore on occasions. Aubameyang scoring again today, Ozil producing a bit of magic, maybe Lacazette. And it tends to be in spite of the manager, in spite of his instructions. That's my observation and my estimation of it. It's moments of individual brilliance that allow us to escape from systemic issues. And there's Abraham's goal. Chelsea are having a lovely time. That's the sort of upsetting thing about this as well. Chelsea fans are having a great time. They've got a manager who was an ex-player who they believe in. They've got this young talent shining. They are enjoying life and they are going well clear of us, and we need to keep pace. As I've said before, the top four is of paramount importance. What else to say about this game? Well, we were dramatically outshot by Wolves. Something like, I won't say something like, let's find out the actual number. I think Wolves had 25 shots in the end to Arsenal's 10 or so. Let's have a look. 10, yeah. The XG was relatively low, but they still edged us in it, and Leno made a couple of very good saves. Defensively, our midfield was incredibly narrow. We knew that was going to be the case. There was a lot of individual technical ability out there. Ceballos, Ozil, Torreira, Guendouzi. But, no width. The onus on the fullbacks was too great, to be honest. I know we're expecting big things from Kieran Tierney, but asking him to be the entire left-hand side maybe is just simply too much. Callum Chambers certainly isn't really that sort of fullback. We did manage to get Lacazette and Aubameyang in tandem. That did produce the goal. Defending on the one we conceded was sloppy. Ceballos completely switched off. Socrates very flat-footed when Jimenez came in and rose above him. And the substitutions were absolutely baffling in the second half. Lacazette and Torreira withdrawn for Martinelli and Saka. I do feel occasionally for Emery, because at that points this season he's not had a senior attacking player on the bench when he's wanted to change it. Today that was not the case. He had the record signing Nicola Pepe, who's just finding form. He did not get off the bench in the match. I don't understand that. I mean, this is a leap, I know, but it almost felt like bringing on a couple of teenagers was a way of saying at the end, well, we had kids on the pitch. We didn't have to have kids on the pitch. That was our decision. I know that the club last week was suggesting that they were prepared to give Unai Emery more time. I would challenge them and say, what evidence are they seeing that suggests that's a good idea? The more time we give Emery, the more damage it might do. Already the top four feels difficult this season, which is absurd given how bad the likes of United, Spurs, and how relatively weak Chelsea are. They've not had a transfer window. And it's Leicester. I mean, granted, Brendan Rodgers got them playing well, but it is only Leicester. Arsenal should absolutely be fighting in contention for those top four places, and we're falling short. It's astonishing. It can't be allowed to continue. I don't think it will be much longer. I think in a couple of weeks' time, we'll probably be looking at an Arsenal team led in the short term by Freddie Ljungberg. I do fear for a bit for any new man. I think our difficult fixtures are coming up. The Christmas period is hard. We're in our easy run at the moment, and we're making a real hash of it. I'll leave it there, but we'll have an Ask Cost Extra on Monday. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.